a good first question there, although I just scrolled off the screen. Yeah, and you're telling me that I need to scroll a little more. I'm not going to touch the mouse this time. Hello, Galaxy. I'm Chris Pirillo, and you've tuned in on another live edition of the Lockergnome Daily Report, or TLDR for short, and you have to pardon because I'm multitasking again. I just wrapped up another live video on the other YouTube channel, youtube.com/Chris Pirillo. I did a 1-week review of the LG V30. Sorry, I was holding it upside down. It's kind of difficult to... Okay, what is up with the Dark Helmet? Fine, Dark Helmet. He gets to come in this video, too. No, you didn't see me playing with my dolls. Stand right there. So, yeah, I just did an hour-long live video stream in the Chris Pirillo YouTube channel, answering your questions specifically about the LG V30. Answered as many as I could, as many as that I saw, and gave you, my feeling of 1 week into the LG V30. Here we are with TLDR. Thank you, everybody, for joining me in Discord. You can join Discord by either becoming a sub of mine on Twitch, twitch.tv/Chris Pirillo. Link is in the video description, as always. You go there. You click the sub button or whatever, and then you look at your Discord settings, because they're two different accounts, and then magically within an hour or so, you'll be able to join chat. It's kind of funny, because as I do these live videos, some people become subs, and then they actually get to become a part of the video that they were watching. It's kind of neat how that works. I always loved having a chat room behind me, even with the Dark Helmet man back there. The other way to effectively be in Discord is become a patron. Gooble gobble, one of us, Gooble gobble. Wasn't it Gooble gobble? I swear it was. Become a patron, patreon.com/Chris Pirillo. Discord is one benefit. Another benefit of becoming a patron of mine is you get this TLDR broadcast as an audio file that you can listen to as a podcast. That obviously is something just for patrons. Everybody else can watch the video as it happens live, with the ads if you don't have YouTube Red, or without ads if you do have YouTube Red. But thank you for certainly tuning in and continuing to support me in whatever way that you see fit. I did mention in the other live video tonight in the other channel that I've set up a Gofundme campaign. This is something that I'm not sure how this is going to work. I'm not sure how much pushback I'm necessarily going to get. But it's been requested of me to do because people want to effectively see me get devices they would like to see me review. I can't get all the devices. So effectively, I started with the Pixels. Gofundme.com/Pixelpalooza is where you can effectively donate, and then you'll get your name, if you're a donator, in the video, one of the videos that we do, one of the live videos we do around one of the Pixel products. So it doesn't matter if we meet a goal or if we make it, a little further with it. Inevitably, some people will get credited in the Pixel video outright for having supported in that capacity. But yeah, the GoFundMe's up. I am going to loop back with somebody to see if I can get the review unit of the Note 8. If that gets pushed out further, I'm just going to say, all right, I'll set up another GoFundMe, because that's not something that I would necessarily buy outright, and it's definitely not something that I'm very capable of getting a review unit for, apparently. That's not my flow. Sometimes getting into that routine is a bit of a challenge, and even when you're in it, they come with strings attached. I just don't like chasing down review units generally. I'd rather have the community power that stuff. Personally, I'd rather have that happen, because then you're in control. Once again, we are taking super chats during this live broadcast, as we do every day. Thank you once again for that. Usually at the beginning of these broadcasts, just to give people time to come in, I started out with the administrivia before jumping directly into the questions. I do believe that SysNerd asked which software I use to broadcast. Right now I'm using the Elgato, not to be confused with Carlos Delgado, the Barracuda. Wasn't that his name? Where's Lon Milk Lover when you need him? Are we the only two people who watch Frasier reruns? Really? Stream issues? Oh my god, don't tell me we're having stream issues again. Please, don't tell me. Okay, I'm not seeing anything on my end. God, because that's what happened yesterday. We had issues. SysNerd, so I'm using Elgato's software, Game Capture HD on Mac OS. They definitely don't do it perfectly, and they have a new cable I'd like to get a hold of. Because I'm using the old box, the old converter, but they've got one that may work better for my camera. I haven't bought it. I should ask for a review unit, shouldn't I? Maybe y'all bug Elgato on Twitter. Can say, hey, at Elgato, that's ELGATO. Like, I think it's Spanish for the cat. Hey, at El Gato, why don't you send at Chris Pirillo your new cable? Because his video streams could be better because he does them live every weekday, and I realize every day, usually. But that's over 140 characters. So you kind of have to, you may have to, like, pare that down a bit. My face is normal? Okay. I guess that's good. By the way, I've been running speed tests all day, and haven't had the same, run into the same hurdles as I saw yesterday with the bandwidth. I will tell you that, tomorrow, if I do TLDR, it may be early in the day, not just because it's the weekend, but I'm also doing another one of my events this weekend, GalaxR, in the greater Seattle area. I would love you to come. It's basically a toy show, a collector show, pop culture stuff, 70 vendors or so. We got food trucks. It's going to be fun for the whole family, not just nerds and geeks. And it's happening on Sunday. So, I don't know how much I'm going to be doing on Sunday online. That's my primary, focus is going to be taking care of those people. Dan Bittner asks, what's your daughter's real name, Jedi? Why do people think it's not real? Why would you not? Name your daughter Jedi. Why? I've gone over the story before, over and over and over again. go.tagjag.com/Jedi name. I think that's the link. If you go there, you'll learn that, she's named after my mom, her mom's mom, and then her mom. There's a lot of moms. Your mom. So my mom's name's Judy, mother-in-law's name's Elia, wife's name's Diana. So that's Jedi, Jedi. She's named after all the moms. I bet your name's not even near as cool. Like Dan? Like, what were you named after? Just one person in your family? Ha, Jedi was named after 3. Booyah! She just name-checked you. Did you see that? Suddenly got cold over No, I'm sorry. I'm not making fun of you. It is a question I get on a frequent basis, but that's her real name, and I'm proud of it. No, it's okay. It's okay. No need to apologize for it. Just, sometimes I get flippant. Never take it personally. Unless I make it personal. Sometimes I make it personal. But don't take it personally. F43A97 comes in with the second super chat of the evening. First super chat goes to Michael Tristan. Boy, Michael, what's up? Michael, thanks. Thank you again. But he didn't have a question. He's just saying, hey, man, I love this stuff. That's not how he sounds, most likely. F43A97 does a super chat on Amazon and its current monopoly of the online market. So, I live in the greater Seattle area. Amazon is a huge employer. Now they're looking to expand, beyond the Seattle area. I think that's fine. I'm torn. I think that what they're doing is disruptive, yes, but important at the same time. So many of the industries that Amazon's touched have needed to be disrupted. And I'm not saying that any business deserves to go out of business. I'm just saying that if we win on the short end or the long end, that's a big win. Like, if I need to buy, let's say, something that'll replace the thing that I broke, I could go online and search for that replacement. And I got to find the best price for that replacement, though it was priceless, the thing that I broke. This is going to be hard to recover from. So that's why you don't leave expensive objects on your desk. And try to use them as an example there. So where do I go? I'm trying to save money. I just go online and look, and then Amazon's got the best price. Or I can deal with the stores in town that may have it. And then if they do have it, is it more expensive? So there are always these trade-offs, right? And I think Amazon needs competition, but I think that it's a juggernaut. It's going to take a lot to unseat Amazon. It's got a lot of velocity behind it. In terms of what is going to make that happen, Google's certainly trying. They've got their, Google Express or Checkout Express or whatever the hell it's called, where they allow that kind of experience with brick and mortar retailers. So Google's taking their own approach to that experience, and I think it's a fine approach. I don't know if it's going to go far enough. So the fact, though, it remains that unless it's a specialty item, and unless I know I can't save money, Amazon is the first place I go to. If it's an older item or a collectible item, sometimes it's eBay. If it's, something that's going to be brand new, I don't always turn to Amazon. Sometimes I'll go to specialty retailers because sometimes I'll have coupons and sometimes they'll be able to deliver something and I know I'm going to get it in good condition. Eventually, I may ruin the object, but, that's not the point. So F43A97, if that's really what you intended with the super chat, thank you. Tony Yoon asks question 523 as a super chat. Says, have you thought about ending the Gofundme campaign with a giveaway? Might gain more traction. Thoughts? If I was swimming in devices, I'd consider it. 1. 2, I don't think that's how GoFundMe works necessarily. And 3, I'm inclined not to do giveaways because I've done them in the past, and I've talked about this before. Giveaways sometimes, and I'm not saying it attracts the wrong person. I don't want it to be a game of chance. I want you to know exactly what you're getting. I want you to see it being completely transparent, saying, hey, I'll be able to do this in a more seamless capacity, and we are going to work your name somehow, in some way, I don't know how it's going to happen yet, into a video around that particular product. I've got a few ways that I think we're going to have to do it, but I hate to tell Liz, it may have to be a semi-manual process in chat. Not that you're going to get an invite to Discord for supporting on GoFundMe of any of the device campaigns, but giveaways open the door for being accused of something that I didn't do, or leaving it to chance, and that just makes me feel weird, and I'd rather not go down that path. Really08 asks, how hard is it to switch to Android when you have all Apple products, music, etc.? Text messages are concerned as well. Is switching worth the trouble? I'm not impressed with their new products. And someone mentioned that they went to the Verizon store to test the Pixel 2 and saw frame drops and were disappointed. I don't know what Verizon's done to the device. I don't know. I've heard some people say that it's spectacular. I haven't heard a lot of people say it's not. I'm not expecting an amazing experience. I am expecting that if I see a problem, I will report it to someone that I now know on Twitter that I've talked about in the past. I guess I got his name wrong. It's not Tony. So I will report it to not Tony. But in terms of difficulty of switching, it's not as hard as you'd think. Years ago, I think it was more difficult. These days, not so much. Like Apple Music, you can listen to it on Android. There's the app. Text messages, if you buy a Pixel, it comes with a cable that transfers everything over from your iPhone onto the Pixel. So it's not as difficult as you'd think it was. And maybe I'm feeling I'm less concerned about it because I know there are certain features that are going to be coming to the Apple ecosystem, and I'm still using a Mac. Now with Movies Anywhere, something I tried talking about in yesterday's TLDR, in tomorrow's podcast as well. Movies Anywhere allows you to connect all your services, so all your Apple movies can now be viewed on Google, on an Android product. So there are less hurdles for you to overcome. There are ways of getting around those things with first-party trusted services. Now, if you're talking about switching from, let's say, iOS to an LG product, it may not be as hand-holdy as Google has provided with the Pixel experience. But, everyone's going to have a different story on this. For example, Flavius Juliana says it's not worth it. Google's trying to have a complete ecosystem with their new laptop, but it only runs small optimized apps and no good display. Their phone is blah. That's your opinion. My opinion is their phone is not blah. Their phone is exactly what software needs to be delivered on. Moreover, it runs everything I need it to run, or may need it to run, in terms of that type of experience. They have small apps. You can run Android apps that are optimized for the Pixelbook. I'm fine with that. Is that going to make or break the device for me? No, I just want a good experience. Period. End of story. Neil Stapleton, I did a giveaway on my PS4 group, and because certain people did not win, they got quite hostile saying it was a scam. So I've not done any. That's what I'm saying, dude. I'm not a fan. Not a fan of giveaways, man. Just not at all. Bought a bunch of digital movie codes for about $4, put them on Movies Anywhere, and boom, I have $4 4K HDR movies. Really? Dude, that's awesome. I'm more excited about getting movies than I was before, because now I know I can watch them anywhere. Not that I got a lot of movies to begin with. I've yet to see Wonder Woman. That shows you how far behind I am. That's the next movie I want to see. I wanted to rent it, but it wasn't free, and I'm like, I'll wait until I can get a free rental, and then I'll rent it. Not that I'm a cheapskate. It's just like, well, I can wait. Do I need to watch it? No. Do I want to watch it? Yes, and I'll wait. Dan Bittner asks, what are you most excited about with the Pixel 2 and Pixel 2 XL? What do you think will be most disappointing? What I'm most excited about is having a better smartphone experience than I've been accustomed to for the past 5 years. What I'm probably going to be disappointed in is if I don't see as much fit and finish as I believe needs to be there. I know it's inevitable. It's going to happen. What I'm confident about is, as I mentioned before, being able to report those problems and potentially seeing a high probability of getting them addressed. F43A97 comes in with another super chat. At what point does competition become a bad thing? When it's not for anybody's benefit. So Apple's moving forward into the arena of Face ID. I think that's fine. I think Face ID is a huge boon. I'm not going to slag it. I'm not slagging the iPhone 10 for its Face ID. In fact, today, someone showed in the software, like if you pick up the phone with Face ID, notifications on the screen on iOS, if it doesn't recognize your face, will show them differently than it does when it's your face. That's cool. That's pretty neat. It can be kind of, not faked, but can be worked around in other ways. Like if your phone had a touch fingerprint, like it doesn't show any notifications unless you touch your phone in a certain way or do your fingerprint in a certain way. But I mean, it's just a neat addition. My concern with just pushing forward into a bezel-less design ethos is that now everybody's doing it. I'm like, but has anybody stopped and thought, why? Because the reviewers say so? Because it's a better experience? I don't know. I don't think it's worth the sacrifice. I would not be as repulsed by what the iPhone 10 is if the notch wasn't present. That is true. But now, if that becomes the norm, because they're perceiving they need to compete with Apple, I'm like, man, do your own thing. Don't just chase somebody else just for the sake of being competitive in that sense. I don't know, dude. I don't know. I don't know what device I would appreciate more. I know what device I don't want or wouldn't appreciate. Competition for the sake of competition, like just keeping up with the Joneses. You're not getting anything better. You're getting a feature with poor implementation. That's usually what happens. That, to me, is the answer, is when does competition become a bad thing? Neil Stapleton, a Marvel fan, but hoping Justice League will be good. I've heard some meh reactions on the trailer. I'm not a DC fanboy as much as I'm a fan of the MCU. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., though, is my go-to. Can't wait for that to spin up. I think it's not going to be until 2019 now. I'm so sad. I love Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I would be so disappointed when that goes off the air. I hope it never goes off the air. And I can't be the only fan of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I know I can't be. I tend to wait on watching a lot of those movies, though. Rick Nelson says, have you tried Face ID on Android? It's kind of gimmicky. Have not. I guess Samsung's been doing it, but I say it's kind of gimmicky in the sense that the implementation, even Samsung says, don't trust it for security. So the iris scanner or whatever it is, ain't no way it's anywhere near what Apple's done. No way. I think Apple's got the hardware down. At least that aspect of it. It'll take years before others are going to be able to catch up with it. Zach Berjawi comes in with a massive super chat. Even in Canadian, it's massive. Thank you. I don't know what the Canadian conversion is, but thank you. Doesn't matter. It's not the value, it's the intent. Thank you for all the recent tech talks. He says you might not produce the same videos as other people on YouTube, but that's what makes you you. Keep doing what you do, man. I will. And that's something that I appreciate you appreciating. And I can't tell you what that means, because it's difficult to face a cavalcade of people who just start looking and sounding the same. And so I keep seeing that over and over again. And but they're talking about things that I just don't care about. And it's like, I've talked about things I've wanted to care about, but in the past, it seems that people weren't necessarily latching onto it. It just took the right timing for this to come around again. And I'm very happy to see super chats, patrons, coming into the fold, Twitch subs coming into the fold, to join the Discord chat. It's very, very, very appreciated. Honestly, the most valuable thing you have is attention. That's the one competition I have as a creator is attention. And so if I can get your attention for just a brief amount of time, it's everything to me. I really appreciate it. Cisnerd asks if I'm still into Doctor Who. I tell you, I fell away with Capaldi. Tried it for like a couple of seasons in their series. I was like, it's not for me. Cannot wait for the new Doctor. Very excited. Because I do want to jump into it again. Capaldi just was not my Doctor. I was Tennant. Did not even like Smith all the way through. And the whole Amy Pond arc, I was like, and the Rory, and like, I got it. It was fine, but it's like, I'm hopeful for the new Doctor Who. I'm excited for the new Doctor Who. Blunt Capcom representative number 4. The longest handle I've seen in the longest time. Asked Chris, do you see the new images for Star Wars Episode 8? Luke's old X-Wing is in the bottom of the ocean water? No way. I missed that. Call me a nerd, but Luke is going inside the cockpit. Oh, going inside the cockpit would be price for admission. Worth the price of admission. Nostalgia. Yeah, but I don't know. I think that'd be doing more fan... Like, unless there was a reason to do it, that'd be like fan service. Like, you know... I'm not into the fan service as much as others are. Trevon Reed says Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is back in December. Possibly, he believes. Well, God, I would hope so. F43A97 said there used to be sort of pride that came with building and designing software with features that are or were pushing competition to sharpen their craft. Exactly. And now it just seems that we're just a race to get something out. And that to me, that's what suffered. I keep saying that over and over again, but that's how I feel about software experiences. This is why, like, when Google says software is a part of it, I'm going to hold them to their word. I will absolutely call them out if I see jank. If I see a substandard experience in UI or UX, I will absolutely say something. I'm not going to let that go. Not going to let that slide at all. And I know other people probably would, but like I'm willing to take that step to make sure that I'm getting as good an experience as I possibly could. Discord stopped scrolling again. It did. I didn't even touch it. Okay. Wow. I wonder why. It's too popular. The problem is that the Discord chat is too popular. We can't take any more people. I'm just kidding. We grow like by 5 a day. That's crazy. Is it my end or is it everybody's? But how's the bandwidth doing right now? This may be a shorter TLDR because I don't know if it's like lagging again or what. Because I'm seeing like some spinning dials on my end, and I don't have anything turned on that shouldn't be turned on. I'm like definitely like pure stream. Ooh, this is not a good sign. No lag for you? Okay, cool. Okay, good. It's just me. And I also noticed too, I see on my end, I see the stream health in analytics. And so it shows me like when I get a steep drop, that lets me know that usually there's a hiccup with bandwidth. So I apologize for the troubleshooting midstream, but thank you again for confirming this. So any other questions? Honestly, and maybe that's where chat froze, because I know that Friday nights can be a challenge for anybody to tune. We all want to tune out. Certainly, I would be one of those people. I've got to get myself pumped up for the weekend though. It's gonna be a relatively long weekend. As most people are relaxing, I'm going to be working, but that's a story of my life. People don't know that. Like they just assume that I'm able to flip on a camera and go. It takes a lot to get to this point. And then even after I'm doing it, I still have to do more afterwards. I mean, there's the follow up to it. It's more than just what you see on the surface. F43A97 asks, "What's your gripes with Windows? I recall you saying you switched to Mac OS." Oh, years ago, dude. Eons ago. I had, effectively just got tired of, or become tired of Windows and what it was believing, what Microsoft believed was a good experience. Windows has come a long way. I will be looking at the Windows 10 Creators Update, or Creator Update, when they release that, not expecting much. I certainly don't expect that it's going to, be the end-all, be-all. I mean, I'm relatively okay right now with Mac OS, and I expect I would be relatively okay at least for the next year. I see no reason to move away from that outright for my needs. Everybody's got something different though. Everybody needs something different. I don't use Windows as some people do. I don't use desktop computers as some people do. But it's getting there. Windows is getting there. Windows 10 now is what Windows 8 should have been in the beginning. Hell, I'll go as far as to say Windows 10 now is what Windows Vista should have been in the beginning. And then maybe I never would have had the issue, right? I never would have felt the need to move on. I felt that Microsoft abandoned me, not the other way around. It takes a lot to win someone back once you've lost them. Tony Yoon asks, question 524. Have you seen the interview of Mark Hamill expressing dissatisfaction about TFA's The Force Awakens storyline? Do you agree? Do you feel that the actors aren't as enthusiastic like the fans are? No, I guess I didn't see that interview, but, this is the thing about expectations. Like, if you have an expectation that this is what happens and then it doesn't happen, you're disappointed. But, I take The Force Awakens as what it is, not what I wanted it to be, because I didn't want it to be anything. I just wanted it to be something that I enjoyed, and it's certainly something that I have enjoyed. That's how I feel about a great many things. Star Wars or technology. To me, they're not exactly the same, but, I just don't set myself up for disappointment. Like, who was asking earlier about the Pixel 2, right? What would be the most disappointing thing? I'm like, well, I know the things that I would want to see, but inevitably, as long as I don't have any expectations, then I'm fine. I'm not expected it's going to be like an amazing experience. So that if it is, then my expectations are, met and then some. So we got another question from Joshua Perez here. What do you think of Apple's approach to photo processing? They've adopted the over-smoothing, smudgy look and ditches the grainy textures photographers appreciate, like David Allen Harvey. I don't know David Allen Harvey. But Joshua, I mentioned that briefly, I guess, or alluded to it, in the video I did comparing the iPhone 7 Plus camera to the iPhone 8 Plus camera. And I missed that grain as well. I guess I didn't mind that noise or the grain. I like that kind of texture. I think they are, to my eye, over-processing just a bit. It's awfully reminiscent of some of the early digital cameras that I used. And I don't like it. It is muddy. And I don't want the muddiness. I'd rather have graininess. It comes down to a preference. I don't think Apple's going to change it. I don't think they're going to create a toggle. It's not what they do. I guess I'm kind of in the same camp as David Allen Harvey. May have to look him up too. Ryan Collins asks, last thing before I head off to bed, 3 a.m. UK time. Wow, a lot of UKers are staying up late. Do you watch any DC shows? If so, do you have a favorite? I like The Flash. I don't. Try to get into Supergirl, can't do it. My dad likes Supergirl, but I tried, and it's definitely not. It's not for me. Have I tried Android or Samsung Pay? Asked Bry Geek. If so, what was your experience versus Apple Pay? I have not. It will happen. So won't be able to tell you until soon. And then when it happens, I'll probably talk about it. I'm very, very happy, though, that it's a feature that I know I'd be able to use. Infrastructure is there. Happy that Apple moved that ball forward. Absolutely. Fall Creators Update, not to be confused with the regular Creators Update. Yeah, so I don't know what they're doing with their updates and everything. I just know that it's been 6 months. Let me tell you, the last time I fired up my Surface Pro, I still have it. Hasn't been online. The last time I fired it up was to use a printer that I no longer have. Piece of junk. Every printer is a piece of junk. I don't believe in owning printers. I don't like printers. I think they're massive security problems. I think they're just headaches and nightmares and expense after expense after expense after expense. But I used it to plug into the printer by way of USB. And I'm like, wow, I got all the updates. I'm like, this is back in March. I'm like, I don't like this at all. Oh, God, that's fugly. What's it trying to be? Am I in 3 versions of Windows or is this one version? And this is the Microsoft experience. I'm like, oh, Windows needs to grow up. Windows needs to figure out what it wants to be. That printer was not priceless, Liz. I'm going to curse the cursor again. It plagues me. It vexes me so. Chacarone. Pulled out his dot matrix. You have a dot matrix, drunken old man? I remember dot matrix. What was I printing? Like a skilled person would be able to, now that I've killed my throat, what was I just printing right there? Can you tell me? Like if you knew dot matrix, you would know exactly what that was what that was printing. Some people could do that. Not really. I'm not saying anybody could, but yeah, not a fan of printers. Printers can go back from whence they came. I've yet to see a printer that impressed me. I don't trust printers. I don't like printers. I don't need printers. Don't want them. That's a big that's really that was the last time I touched that Windows machine. Am I the only one? No, I'm not, because R. Bassett Jr. says in chat, printers do suck. Former HP printer support agent. That's so okay, there you go. They're horrible. Why are we still dealing with printers? I hate printed things unless they're collectible. And I'm sorry, most of what I have to print is not collectible. I don't collect prints. I don't like prints. I don't like posters. Don't need them. Don't want at all. Like, I know everybody's different. Everybody. But that's one device that if you could get rid of one device, like feasibly, the printer is probably number one. Maybe you rely on the printer. Everybody's got a different use case. I'll use somebody else's, sure. It ain't mine. But no, won't do it. Won't touch them. Apparently Liz did printer support for Brother. Worst 3 weeks of her life. I don't know why we're still dealing with printers. I don't even want to talk about printers. Can we please move on to a different topic? Because now you know what I got to do. Now I got to put printers in this title of the video. I got to put it because I went off on a tear on printers. Printers. How is this still a thing? I don't know what else is going to be in the title yet. We'll find out. The real world relies on paper, Chris. I know they do, but why? Like, now we've got smartphones. Why can't smartphones be paper? Like, seriously. I mean, we think of one thing that you've got to do on paper, hand over paper, you can't already do on a smartphone. Checking in, smartphone. Notes, smartphone. Another thing for paper. I don't know. You don't need paper. Prescriptions. All that can be done digitally, man. And woman. Men and women. Patrick Millard asks, and the question of the night, how do you download Wi-Fi? I've been trying to figure that out. And no one can tell me. I keep asking, and no one knows the answer to the question. You figure it out, you let me know. So we do have another question here from Tony Yoon. Wondering, any predictions? This is question number 525. He's actually keeping track. Any predictions on what Android P will stand for? I thought, and Nickoi channel says Popsicle. Popsicle would fit, but we also had Lollipop, and pop in two ways is fine. I'm kind of over the whole Kit Kat and Oreo and the big name brand thing. I don't know. I would have rather have seen Android O be something else that was sweet. I don't know what else is sweet that begins with the letter O. I'm not a sweets fan. What else is sweet? O? Oh, that's Oreo. They probably couldn't think of anything else. They're like, Oreo, that's sweet. So for P, Popsicle, it would be fine. I'm not speculating. I don't know. Everyone's got a different, take on it. But let's see here. Maybe they couldn't call it pastry because pastry's a type. Well, then again, Lollipop's a type. So maybe Pie. Pie would be cool. Android Pie. Not P-I, but P-I-E. I like Android Pie. Because I think they could do a lot with Android Pie. Like, have a piece of Android Pie. Peppermint, I'd like. Yeah, that's a good one, R. Bassett Jr. Peppermint. For sure. I would go with that. Pop-Tart, Joshua Perez. See, that plays into the whole brand thing again. I'm like, that's a little overplayed. Peter says Android Pizza. Not sweet, and we're sticking with the sweet stuff. Pineapple Pizza? No. Team no pineapple pizza, Corridor 4. I agree with whoever reacted to you. Pretzels, not sweet. I'm gonna say pie. I'm gonna say pie on this one. Anybody else team pie, team Android Pie at all? F43A97 asks, did you ever use Honeycomb? Never had a chance. I don't think I ever had a chance to do it. I think that was largely optimized for Android tablets that nobody bought, that nobody used. I haven't had an Android tablet since I think the Nexus 7. I may still have it too. Haven't booted it up in ages. I'm okay with how they progressed through things, but yeah, was Honeycomb even really a valid release? I know it was. But again, I hardly knew ye. It's nice to see that some of the later versions of Androids have been as dominant as they have in the Android space. I would expect that to be even better in the coming years with Android Oreo and its abstraction from certain layers that OEMs and carriers modify in their Android experiences. So, Android Logger, that would have been great, but I don't think that I would have been. I would have been disappointed with that, though it's not really sweet. Yeah, J Hockey says, I think Honeycomb was the tablet upgrade. That was what I remembered as well. Rick Nelson suggests Android Pez. See, again, if they were going to do that, they should have done that from the beginning. But now, okay, they did Kit Kat, they did Oreo. I'm like, okay, let's not talk about another brand. I mean, obviously, it was worth probably millions of dollars to both of them, but I'd rather not. Intercontinental Gamer finally asks a question instead of spamming the chat. Are you Apple or Android? First of all, okay, thank you for asking a question finally. Second of all, it's not really a valid question because Apple's a company, Android's a platform. Third of all, you don't have to be either or. You can like things in both camps. For example, I use Mac OS. And for another example, I use Android phones. I'm about to get a Pixel 2 and a Pixel 2 XL, and there's a great possibility that I will switch from iOS to the Google ecosystem. I say Google ecosystem because I'm even thinking about eliminating the iPad Pro. I'm ready to let it go. It ain't going to take much for that Pixelbook to convince me. Although that's not shipping until later in the month. That won't be until October 30th, so we'll have plenty of time for pixel-driven videos for a while. Plenty of time. Don't you worry. Never fear. Android Pancake was suggested, but pancakes aren't sweet on their own, unless they're banana pancakes. You'd have to put syrup on them. So then you'd have to talk about like some kind of berry. Maybe there's a sweet berry that begins with P. Pomegranate? Pomegranate's not really sweet, though, is it? Outright? I could be wrong. I don't eat pomegranate on a regular basis. Diana bought some before, and it's mostly the seeds, and they were mostly sour. So I think they're trying to stick with the sweeter flavors more than anything. Where they go after the alphabet, of course, is anybody's guess. I like that they do it, though. It is kind of fun when companies do that. Gives something. I like that, I think, more than version numbers, because I can remember Lollipop and Nougat and Oreo and Kit Kat, but or whatever the P is going to be. But like, am I going to remember number 7 over 6? And yeah, them by numerical order, but then they all start kind of blending together, and then you lose track. I think for clear, definitive branding, it's the right approach to take. And maybe they start all over again with A, and then they go with sweets, or maybe they stay with food, but they go savory, or spices. They'll figure it out by then. They'll figure it out. They've been doing a lot of Star Wars stuff. I'd love to see a Star Wars, Android after we reach Z. So they start over with Android Ahsoka, Android Bosk. Dude, man, you want to hear something that would keep me there forever? And that would be it. Oh, man. Android name of a star? See, yeah, that would be cool, too. Like Android Andromeda, although that would be a trip up. Isn't that something else in software? They're working on Fuchsia, so that's the color line. Fuchsia is like what the next iteration of Android may be imagined as, but we're definitely not there yet. So now this is the thing, when we get onto a topic that people want to give feedback on, we're never going to get off this topic. So just assume that for the rest of this video, we're going to be talking about possible Android names. Oh, man. Tony Yoon asks, question number 526. Which OS, Android versus iOS, do you consider to be the dark side? I think each one has a benefit, and drawbacks. I've never really looked at it that way as a dark side, because Apple locks everything down. It creates an experience, and I think that's fine. Android is a little more open-westy, and that's fine. It's not one or the other. I mean, you have to sometimes make a choice, one or the other. But it's not that one is definitively better in every possible way, empirically better. Each one has benefits and drawbacks. I don't consider either one to be the dark side, I guess. I never really have. I've always kept an open mind. Ryan Collins, still awake, asks, what's your thoughts on the last series of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., a.k.a. Agents of Hydra? I enjoyed it. I loved it. After I got past the first few episodes into season 1, I was just like, dude, this is my show. I loved it. So happy. So happy. R. Bassett Jr. asks, Chris, have you tried the Windows Phone style launcher for Android called Square Home 2? That's what it's called now. I installed it last night. It's definitely different. Have not tried it. Don't really feel like it. I know it's free. Pez Liz asks, Chris, any thoughts on the not advertiser-friendly issues on YouTube? I'd love to talk about that, but I don't want to get flagged. For example, I think today's first week impressions of the LG V30 video is not advertiser-friendly. Are you serious? Are you joking? Are you kidding? Are you joking right now, Liz? Is it not advertiser-friendly? So this is the thing. We creators get slapped with not advertiser-friendly outright. We're guilty until proven innocent. So I'll put up a video. It gets a lot of views. YouTube may not give me money for it. They say, nah, we got to check to make sure it's fine. And they may not even roll as many ads as they would otherwise, which means I make even less money from it. So the reason why I got away from wanting to rely so heavily on ads is because of this. YouTube screws with creators. Oh, man. No, I'm talking screwdriver. Look, screws. In terms of like, look, this is what I mean. Look, I have bits, and look, I can do this. This is what I'm talking about. So I'm a creator. Let's pretend I'm a creator over here, and this is what they do. See, this is a screwdriver. That's what you do when you're turning the screw. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm referring to. That's all I'm referring to, people. So effectively, I make the content that you love, but I'm not able to offset the costs as easily. And YouTube is effectively, I think, taking the wrong path with this. It makes me angry. Oh, see? Look, that's great. That's awesome. Don't say, can't do that in a video, because, see, that'll get flagged as not advertiser friendly. Outright, can't do that. That's not, it's okay. Thank you for moving on. That's just awesome. That's what I'm talking about. So you wonder why does Chris always talk about Patreon and joining Discord and Twitch subs and subscribing and doing super chats? Why is he always talking about that? This is why. That's why. So it's precarious. It really angers me. It angers me greatly that they've done this. Because they've effectively just they've stripped away any reason that I would create videos unless I've got a supportive community, which I'm grateful for. Don't get me wrong. Everybody who does everything they've done and for me and with me, I appreciate it. But if you want to know, why doesn't Chris just use his ad money to buy a device? Because Chris doesn't always get ad money. Because YouTube messes with Chris. That's why. Chris set up the Gofundme for the Pixels. That's why Chris may set up a Gofundme for a Note 8 or a Samsung S8 Plus when he figures out the cost after Gofundme's fees and the taxes and all that stuff. That is why I do this, that, and the other thing. No, I feel you, Cisner. Don't feel bad. I'm just upset too. But it's something that we really have to watch. It's really, it's not fun. But thank you, Liz, for asking that question. Google's really... They're not advertiser friendly. Why am I the one paying the price for somebody else's mistake? That's what I feel. Wait, Liz, is that today's video? Tonight's video? Or the one that we did like last week? This is asinine is what it is. And that's a real word, and it's definitely advertiser friendly. Nicoy Channel asks, Google is wanting to release RCS with Android messages. Well, they have. The carrier has to support it, though. He says, which will likely be the future of messages, taking forever because carriers especially want to use their own apps for data centers. I hope it happens sooner rather than later. I'm a big fan of what Google's trying to do. I have also tried to move away from that in terms of reliance on messaging for a lot of different reasons. Not just because I'm using 13,000 phones at any given time, but it's a big deal that we move these services forward and then current competitors don't get in the way. And that's my biggest problem is like when you are an impediment to a better experience, I have a problem with that. I don't care who it is. I don't care where it comes from. Tonight's, I'll keep messing with the thumbnail. Change the thumbnail. You want me to get? I'm going to give you a better thumbnail, Liz. Hey, everybody in chat say, hey, look at this. Is advertiser friendly. Look, everybody, it's advertiser friendly. I'll give you another thumbnail here, Liz. People are, give me a second. Can I lock the screen? I'm trying to get there we go. I'm trying to get away from the hang on. How do I change the launcher here? What can I do in the... Here, I got an idea. So there you go. I gave you a few seconds. I apologize for everybody listening to the podcast version of this. Trying to get a thumbnail, not for this video, but for the video now that we did live in the Chris Pirillo YouTube channel that is quote-unquote not advertiser friendly. So we're going to try a new thumbnail and see what happens. See, there we go. Make sure, yeah, we're all caught up. Y'all may not have made the screenshot there, but we don't say that we didn't try. Don't say that we didn't give it a shot. Also, don't say that I didn't sacrifice anything for y'all. I have not eaten dinner. So if I faint in the last 15 minutes of this broadcast, just understand that I did it for you. Alexander Holian asks, why doesn't Google create their own version of iMessage for the Android platform? They have. They've got Android messages. And B, they've got Allo. Allo. Take a look at Allo. Allo is it. I've talked about this before. In recent days, I know on TLDR. It is effectively that. Not an exact, equivalent, but I think that's Google's direction for what they're, trying to do. Especially seeing Facebook as a competitor in the messaging space, not so much Apple. I've pretty much all but given up on what Apple's doing with their software. It's kind of sad too. I mean, I remember looking forward to it, but anymore it's like, nope, done. F43A97 comes in with another good question. Why is Apple removing all the ports from the MacBook? I think ports are just their legacy anyway. I think they're inevitably going to go away, all of them. I appreciate that they're pushing into USB-C. It's nice to have those types of accessories, if only for compatibility with all the devices. I don't know if a great many people need that many ports, and if they did, they may not need them in a laptop. The world is moving wireless. One less thing for them to be concerned about, one less thing to break. I am still on a MacBook Pro. I use on a regular basis. I used to use the SD card slot all the time when I was doing vlogging with the vlogging camera. I maybe used the HDMI port once. The USB port I use specifically for the Elgato hardware that I talked about. I use a converter of the what's this camera? The camera here is that's my Thunderbolt connector to this camera. I think that's how it works. Why do I have that plugged in? What device is plugged into that? Hang on, I got the power cable. I got the USB cable. I think I have to have this device connected to the computer indirectly. I think that's what I have to do. Huh, now I'm wondering. Why is that there? Has that ever happened to you? Have you ever looked at a cable and go, wait a minute, what's that plugged into? Every so often I do that. Like, I went out and cleaned the console downstairs, or the area. The receiver is so old, it doesn't even have HDMI on it, but we don't use it all that often. And so I went through and I'm like, I need to pull all this stuff out. And so I pulled all the cords and cables. So much cord and cable clutter. Some of them not going into any devices anymore. I'm like, wow, that was a lot. Because, you get rid of a device, you move it around, years go by, you don't think of it. But, every so often I'll go through that. I remember the great cable decluttering a few years ago in the workshop. I got rid of the cables that went to the live feed that used to sit on the other side of the room, and then pulled out some of the cables that were connected to devices behind the cabinets. I get rid of cabled things all the time. I think it's a matter of time before we're all just like, getting rid of the cables in every way. I know it's a FireWire connection. This is definitely a FireWire connection that's going into an adapter, and that adapter is going into yet another adapter. So the fact that it still works is just shocking. Rodrigo Contreras says, Duo is already being integrated into phone and contacts apps. Hopefully Allo follows suit. I'm sure it will. I'm sure that's what they're doing. And I like the fact, originally I'm like, why aren't they putting this all together? They're decoupling everything. That's great, because each one can get updates independent of each other. I love that. That's so smart. Sam A. McGuire says, Chris, are you still rocking Empire Avenue? Dude, you still remember Empire Avenue? Really? You remember? I remember. I still get notifications, but I'm like, I haven't logged in, and like, they like warned me, like, if you don't log in, you're going to lose your Eves. And I'm like, I'm good. I'm fine. I don't need any more. I'm good. Yeah, I think Empire Avenue had a chance to succeed. They didn't listen to my feedback, not to say that would have spelled success for them, but I believe still that they could have done better with what they had. They had an amazing thing and a pretty amazing community, but they had the wrong approach to what they were trying to do with Empire Avenue. But yeah, I'm still on it, but I don't even know how I'm doing on it. I used to be like the #1 user on Empire Avenue. That doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean squat. That's like saying I'm the most prolific user on Plurk. Nobody remembers Plurk. Zach Berjawi comes in with another super chat. Oh my god. Like, the only thing more super than your super chats is your epic beard in your thumbnail. One that I would aspire to have. But unfortunately, like, my beard would never grow. My beard would go out. Like, my hair would go out. I would look like the guy at the end of, what was the Ice Pirates? Remember when one of the guys, he had a huge hair, like a hairdo, like big, huge hair here. That would be me. Another quick one for you, he says. In the last decade, what would you single out as the most innovative product to enter your household? Decade? Innovative. Man. Okay, man, I gotta think a lot, because there's a lot of products that have entered the house. To me, an innovative product is one that catches me off guard, that impresses me, that changes my outlook on everything. Can't say that's Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi I had back in the days of San Francisco. The thing I'll go to, because it's very difficult for me to say that I could think of any better example. I'll say the first iPhone, and I realize it's kind of like a go-to answer for me anymore, but it's true. It was revolutionary. It was absolutely evolutionary. It was innovative in the sense that, yeah, there were smartphones before, but it changed the industry. Hell, it created the industry, as far as I'm concerned. Put Apple back on the map. It really gave me pause. It's been with me for so long, and that's, I think, what's so bittersweet about where I am today. Why I'm so frustrated and disappointed with how things are with Apple, because I remember what that first product did, that the first iPhone did, and I didn't even want it. I'm like, no, I've seen this stuff before. I'm good. No, how could it be better? It doesn't have these features. It doesn't have these specs. I don't need. It's so expensive. It's too expensive. Why do I need to spend that much money on a phone? It's just blah 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 blah. So many reasons not to get it. But I was wrong, and I was proven wrong. Some people think that I'm going to be proven wrong about the iPhone 10. I've explained to them that, well, the iPhone 10 has software that is clearly not singing in harmony with the hardware. It's too much of a trade-off for a hardware feature. It's from a different Apple. It's from the Apple that gave us a Magic Mouse that charges on its belly, and you can't use it at the same time as you're charging it. It's from the same Apple that brought us the pencil that charges awkwardly in a lightning port and sticks out like a sore thumb. It's the same Apple that has been bringing us iOS ever since the release of 7. So Apple set itself up for disappointment at this point. It wasn't the same back then. That's the Apple I miss. I really do. I don't know if that Apple's ever coming back either. I'm not the only one to lament it. That's a big deal. It's a big deal. See, it's bittersweet for me to talk about. Zach also says, I can appreciate that. I felt a slow clot in my life ever since Steve Jobs passed away. And I'm not sure if that was a type of slow clot. But yeah, I mean, it feels like that. It certainly does feel like a clot. The thing that hurts the most is I know what that was for me. And here's the thing. I don't think Apple can outdo the original iPhone. I don't think they could do anything that would top it. You couldn't. You couldn't. It came along at the right time. It was the right product. It was the right everything for all the wrong reasons, and that's you can't repeat that kind of success. Something intangible about that, and I think the entire industry is struggled to play catch up to where Apple is or was. Well, there's the thumbnail came out. That's great. Hopefully that'll be advertiser friendly. J Hockey in Discord chat says, I loved walking into Best Buy a week before the official launch with my Note 8. The store employee was dumbfounded I had it. How did you get it before? That's amazing. Michael Tristan says, I miss Apple's magical experience, but still think they have it, but they don't know. Still think they have it, but they don't now. I don't think it's going to turn around anytime soon. I'm not going to hold my breath. I'm tired of holding my breath for Apple. Screenplay House LLC says the old Apple would have ended YouTube and Facebook with better products. I don't know if I agree with that, if only because Apple's never really been good at services, going all the way back to the days of Mobile Me or .Mac, if you remember those. But they tried, years later with other products integrated in iTunes, Ping. It's not their forte. Even now, the integration of music with the acquisition of Beats, it doesn't feel like they've got a big win with that stuff at all. Chris, do you know, says Tim R, that the Apple Pencil had an adapter that lets you charge it by a lightning cord instead of plugging it into the iPad, right? Sure, but it's one more thing to carry around. One of the things that I appreciate about the way that Google's approached it is, number one, they've left a flat end so I can stand it up on its end so it doesn't roll around, one. Two, it's a replaceable battery. So we'll see if it performs better. I'm not going to do side-by-sides because I'm not going to buy an Apple Pencil because I already know I'm not going to use it. So why would I buy something I wouldn't use? So that would be why, I would set up like a GoFundMe. I don't think anybody's going to GoFund an Apple Pencil. I couldn't make that argument, not easily, not well at all. I will say this, though, as we're beginning to wind down. Thank you for these rather amazing questions and even more amazing super chats tonight. I need to tell everybody, we will start to do the podcast after TLDR. Head over to twitch.tv/Chris Pirillo. Link is in the video description. When you're over there, sub to me on Twitch to get access to Discord. You can also be a patron of mine, patreon.com/Chris Pirillo. You could have had this TLDR broadcast after the fact as an audio file. That's an exclusive. The audio file podcast exclusives just for the patrons. So sub, patron, super chatter, thank you, one and all. You're all, everybody, even if you're not one of those, are more than welcome to join me for the podcast recording and even listening to the podcast after the fact, which you may be doing. That video will not be permanent, the podcast recording, but the audio file will live on in the podcast feed. The hour does go quick. I try to keep things upbeat. What I will tell you is I may take a slight brief break to eat. I do need to eat. So expect maybe a 15-minute or so delay or so, but I do intend on being on Twitch tonight to do the live podcast simulcast. If you can't make it, not a big deal. You can still listen to the podcast after the fact. You can still go over there and sub to me on Twitch and get notifications when I go live. You can still do all that. But I did need to make everybody aware that I do need to get something in me or I will faint during the podcast. That will not be fun. Those are moments of silence you don't want to hear. This is Chris who didn't eat in the middle of a podcast. He faints and his head hits the desk, and it's not pretty. It's not even a nice sound for a podcast. Zach Berjawi says, there are no more moments like the iPod moment when Steve said, I'm going to put 1,000 songs in your pocket. There's zero chance Tim has anything nearly as forward-thinking floating in his thoughts. That's not him. It's not Tim. Tim's not a forward thinker. He's a great business person. Amazing at facilitating, the perfunctory needs of a business, but in terms of setting the tone, that ain't Tim. Don't turn to Tim for that. Ain't gonna be fun. Elite NWO Agenda asks, do you think Apple is going towards a Mark of the Beast feature, or maybe we're already there? Biometrics, iris scans, fingerprint readers. I think that's a little conspiratorial. I'm not going to say no, but I'm not. That's how technology works. This is the inevitability of technology. It's going that direction. Whether it's Apple or another company, it's going to happen. I don't. What makes me concerned is not having mechanisms in place that would keep nefarious people from doing something nasty with that information. So it's not the technology for the sake of technology, or the technology that I rebuke. It's what people do with it that I rebuke. That's what I reject outright. So that's how I feel. I know that this could be like a completely different discussion and debate around that topic alone. But it's not something that we certainly don't have enough time in the next minute or so. Might have time for maybe one more question, and then I'll go ahead and leave everybody be. And I'm not sure if we have any more questions, because I think everybody's already moved on the other channel. Maybe this one. Virginia Beach sucks? Man. What do you do with old tech computers accumulated over the years? Sell, gift, or recycle? Glad you asked that question. I answered that question in a video in the other Chris Pirillo YouTube channel, youtube.com/Chris Pirillo. I can't remember the name of it. Like, what do you do with old tech? Search for it over there. You'll be able to watch that video. While you're over there, make sure you subscribe, turn on notifications there, as well as this channel. Thank you for remembering to like this video. Just press the little thumbs up button. It's easy to do. Thank you for subscribing, for turning on the notifications button, for sharing this video with others who might enjoy it. Thank you for joining Discord chat. If you are a sub of mine or a Patreon or a patron, you can become a sub by heading over to twitch.tv/Chris Pirillo. You can become a patron by heading over to patreon.com/Chris Pirillo. Easy to do. You can even be a sub for free if you have your Amazon Prime account connected to your Twitch account, and then join Discord right away. We have almost 70 people in there now. Not all the time, but I can tell you that we're at least at 70, which is amazing. 24/7, even when I'm not doing a live video. So plenty more to have fun with, plenty more to enjoy, plenty more to revel in. I am going to move on to eating. Then I'm going to be doing the podcast and tell you here at the end, as I'm prone to do, I do love you. I do appreciate you, whether or not you are a Twitch sub or a Patreon supporter, or you're doing something with me on GoFundMe with the Pixelpalooza, if you are super chatter. And I got to tell you, Zach Berjawi is definitely the MVP of the night. Sorry, everybody else. That's, by the way, it's a fake title. Don't take that to heart. Don't frame it. But thank you, everybody. I love you. I appreciate you. At this point, however, I'm going to leave you to your own devices. May the Force be with you.